Throughout this pandemic, we've heard about the struggles of restaurants and hotels in the hospitality industry. But there's another group of workers who say they've been forgotten when it comes to government relief funds. They've been called invisible. Others describe them as the hidden thousands and thousands. They are the self-employed business owners and independent contractors who do work for live events. As Corey Bork reports in this week's Business Matters, these workers are part of the hardest hit industry, who they say no one is really talking about.
Putting on live theater involves a lot of work behind the scenes. It's something Gea Dildascoli has done most of her life as a set technician.
I was a mid-career professional in technical theater. I was making a comfortable living in my chosen field.
She helped with productions at Park Center and Brooklyn Center high schools, but made most of her income through well-known Twin Cities theater venues.
On March 13th of 2020, I lost 8 jobs in 36 hours.
Many of those venues still haven't returned to performances in front of live audiences. The lack of income forced Dildascoli to leave theater. She ended up finding work in residential remodeling.
It is what it is. It pays the bills. I would love to come back to theater, but in the past year and a half, I have made exactly $2,000 as a theatrical technician.
Theater is just one example of the live events industry.
We started to see some of the comeback, and that's what we're excited about. But as we talked about earlier with the new variant popping up, we're seeing more and more events canceling in the last couple weeks alone.
Mark Johnson is CEO of Star Exhibits. The Brooklyn Park-based company helps businesses put on elaborate displays for trade shows and conferences. That included work for Doritos at Super Bowl 52 in Minneapolis. Today, Star's workforce is depleted from what used to be 117 employees to now roughly 1/3 the size. Federal PPP loans to help companies keep workers only went so far.
Covers my employees for a few months, but it really doesn't cover the business for the full exposure that we have given this pandemic.
We are here to listen to your stories so that we can then use them to advocate on your behalf in Washington, D.C.
Both Dildascoli and Johnson pressed for relief funds during a listening session last week involving local Congressman Dean Phillips. They hope something can be done to protect a once thriving industry.
The infrastructure that is meant for our industry, a lot of it is gone. It's going to be hard to replace that talent and expertise that the people that have now left.
We need support, and that support needs to be financial. It can't just be platitudes and sympathy, which is a lot of what we've been getting.
For Business Matters, Corey Bork, CCX News.
It's estimated that close to 25% of small businesses in the live events industry have gone away. Johnson with Star Exhibit says it could be 2 to 3 years before his business returns to where it was before. Brooklyn Park's annual summer celebration Tater Daze look much different and much smaller this year. The pandemic and finances played a role, but as Sonia Goins reports, fights have been a problem in previous years, and this year was no different.
There were many family fun events held here at the Community Activity Center to celebrate the 56th annual Tater Daze Festival. However, police had to close things down early after what they call a significant disturbance.
But it just became very hostile and argumentative between the groups.
Brooklyn Park police say about 200 young people showed up at the Community Activity Center for the Tater Daze event, and about 20 of those folks got into a fight. Police say some of the people had canisters of mace. Officials decided to end the event after 6 on Saturday evening because they said it had become unsafe.
Even though they were given numerous warnings to leave or stop the fights, they wouldn't, and the hostility continued to grow. And at that point is when we realized, when they got on 85th and actually shut down traffic on 85th for quite a period of time, that's when the officers decided it was enough.
The event included live music, food, and bingo. Some Brooklyn Park residents say they are disappointed at how the festival ended.
What's this world coming to where you can't go to a concert without having violence, or anything? It's always in the background of, should I go to this thing or I might get injured,
Police aren't sure if any of the participants had weapons, and there's no word on if any arrests were made. In Brooklyn Park, Sonia Goins, CCX News.
Investigators are trying to determine the cause of a fire over the weekend that caused extensive damage to a home in Brooklyn Park. Firefighters responded Saturday morning at around 6:15 to a home on the 3800 block of Dunbar Court North. Flames were coming from an attached garage that quickly spread to the attic of the house. As fire crews arrived, black smoke from the fire could be seen for miles. Fortunately, 2 people inside the home did make it out safely. 1 firefighter did suffer minor injuries. Brooklyn Park's mayoral race is headed for a recount, and the city clerk says that recount will begin at 9 a.m. on Thursday. City Council member Lisa Jacobson came out just 1 vote ahead of Hollis Winston in the special mayoral election last Tuesday. The City Council canvassed the votes on Friday night. Winston officially requested the recount, which is paid for by the city when the count is this close. The recount will happen in the Garden View room at the Community Activity Center, and it is open to the public. And now an update on new stores coming to Maple Grove. Sierra Trading Post is coming to the old Lifeway Christian bookstore. The store sells outdoor fitness apparel, and it's owned by the same company as TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods. It asked permission this week from the City Council to change the elevation of the side of the building facing Elm Creek Boulevard. And there's a few other developments to tell you about. Urban Walk, a fast casual Asian eatery, will be coming to the Village at Arbor Lakes. 2 fitness options, Planet Fitness, will be coming to the shops at Arbor Lakes, and an infrared sauna fitness studio called Hot Works will be coming to the Grove. The old Pier 1 Imports will become Phoenix Salons.
After a very disjointed fall high school sports season in 2020 due to the pandemic, practices started Monday for the 2021 season on a more normal schedule. Jay Wilcox visited the Maple Grove football team.
After a late starting, early ending high school football season last fall due to COVID-19, the Maple Grove guys are just thrilled to be back on the field for the opening day of practice for the 2021 season.
It's really nice, getting back to a normal routine. Obviously it didn't end very well last year, so we're hoping we get a full season and it goes back to normal this year.
I don't think people realize how important this is for them just on a socially and being around each other and the fun of doing something together for a bigger cause than themselves. And it's just fun to see their enthusiasm.
93 varsity players are out this season for the Crimson, a high watermark for the past several years.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Looking at the field compared to last year, we probably had 60 guys. This year, a lot more guys coming out, a lot more competitiveness for reps. You got to compete way more because there's 2 times the amount of people going for your position, right? So
I think so. I think some people just want to get them out of the house, but I think we got over 90 out for varsity right now, so we're really excited about that. And they're a great bunch of kids who've worked really hard.
No teams feel like a well-oiled machine on the first day, but all in all, Maple Grove's guys say things didn't look bad for the start of practice.
Day one, it's been looking pretty good. So I think I haven't seen a lot of the work over there, but I've heard I think our skill players are going to be awesome this year. We're pretty small, but I think we can if we're fast enough, we can beat most teams.
Coaches and players don't know for sure what's to come with COVID-related protocols or changes, but they'll prepare for whatever comes their way.
We're just trying to do our part. We're not really thinking about that right now. Whatever happens, happens. Control the controllable is what we like to say.
Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
Maple Grove opens the season September 2nd at Osseo. Summer oftentimes brings changes in education as related to retirements and new hires. We caught up with the new activities director at Wayzata High School, who is eager for her latest career challenge.
It's a career she's pursued since she was in high school. Now Megan Potter has her second activities director job, and this one at the state's largest high school, Wayzata.
It felt like this was the right fit, and this was going to be the new home for us, and a place where we could stay, raise our kids, and just, fit in with the community and the culture here. And so far, 40 days in, it's been that, so it's been nice.
Potter replaces Jamie Sherwood, who retired in July. The Hibbing native is a North Dakota State University graduate who earned her master's degree at the University of Minnesota. She spent the last 7 years as an AD back in Hibbing after previous education stops in Jordan, Delano, and Prior Lake, and a stint working in the athletic department at the U of M.
The end goal for me was I wanted to be an activities director in a high school. And so I thought, let's take this opportunity, learn, what's going on at a major Division I athletic department, to learn the ropes, and then go back into teaching, coaching, and kind of see where it goes. And that's what I did.
Like all working in athletics, Potter continues to deal with the issues surrounding COVID-19. Though different than a year ago, there are still guidelines to follow.
Moving forward, it's going to depend on, I think, the level of risk and the level of infection that our kids or our community has. And we just have to be ready to change to make sure that we are, like I said, protecting our student athletes.
In contrast to 2020, though, full schedules are slated for all fall sports. And Meghan Potter can't wait to see it get started at Wayzata.
That excitement to have fans back in the stands and our student athletes ready to play full schedules again and be out there, it's contagious. So I cannot wait to see that stadium full of people or the gym packed, ready to go, and having that opportunity for our student athletes to be out there playing the game that they love.
Practices began Monday at Wayzata and at all schools for all fall sports, with the first day of competition coming up next week for some teams.